Transform through small wins. Take daily steps and refuse to stay the same. There comes a moment in every journey when you stand completely still, not because you've arrived, but because you're hesitating to begin. You feel it in your chest, in your breath, a quiet resistance. The mind whispers fears dressed as logic. What if you fail? What if you're not ready? What if this changes everything? But here's the truth. Not starting is the only guaranteed failure. Every meaningful change begins with discomfort. Every evolution starts with resistance. In the first step, it will always be the hardest, not because you're weak, but because that step threatens the version of you that's grown comfortable in the known. You are standing at the doorway of transformation. One side is familiar, predictable, and safe. The other is foggy, unclear, and demanding. Yet it is only through that fog that your future waits, not with perfection, but with possibility. Think of the earth before a seed breaks through. For days nothing appears. The soil is undisturbed, but deep underneath there's a quiet war. The seed splits. Pressure builds. Roots push down before the sprout dares to reach up. That's what your first step is. It's not flashy or loud. It's something internal cracking open. Something choosing light despite the weight of darkness. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need full clarity. What you need is a decision, a whisper inside that says, I will no longer stay where I've been. That alone is momentum. That alone moves the wheel of change. And yes, fear will walk beside you. Let it. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move while fear clutches your hand. You may feel unsure. You may feel alone. But you're not. Every strong person you admire once stood exactly where you stand now, at the beginning, uncertain and vulnerable, yet willing. Discipline, success, transformation, they all start with one act, beginning. Let go of the illusion that your first step must be dramatic. Often it is the quietest shift that changes everything. Waking up early one morning, saying no when you usually say yes, journaling your thoughts, putting on your shoes and walking instead of waiting. These are not small things. These are declarations. Each action, no matter how small, tells your subconscious, I am no longer stuck, and you will stumble. Let that be expected. Starting does not mean you never fall. It means you give yourself permission to rise, again and again, because movement, no matter how slow, is always stronger than standing still in fear. Your mind may argue. It may tempt you to delay with excuses disguised as logic. Tomorrow will be better. I'll feel more ready next week. But the longer you wait, the heavier the idea becomes. Doubt grows in stillness. Confidence grows in action. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too far gone. You are precisely where your transformation was meant to begin. With your breath, with your willingness, with your first imperfect step. Begin where you are. Begin with what you have. Begin even if you feel like you don't know enough. The truth is, every step will teach you what the next one should be. Life unfolds for the courageous. The path reveals itself to the committed. Start even if you whisper. Start even if your hands shake. Start even if your voice quivers. Just start. Because the most powerful version of you is not the one who plans. It's the one who dares. You are not here by accident. This chapter, this moment, this pull inside of you, it's the signal. You are being called to leave comfort for growth, to choose evolution over repetition. And while the road may be long and the work demanding, your first step carries a promise. You will not remain the same. Every journey is made of steps. You don't take them all at once. You take them one at a time, one breath, one choice, one morning where you refuse to repeat yesterday. So ask yourself now, not how far do I have to go, but what can I do today that my future self will thank me for? And then do just that. Before we go deeper, ask yourself, who else in your life needs this kind of clarity and calm power? Share this now, and if you're walking this journey with me, hit subscribe so you never have to walk it alone again. Discipline is often misunderstood. To many it sounds like restriction, like rules that suffocate freedom, but you're beginning to see differently now. Discipline, when viewed through the right lens, is not confinement, it is liberation. It's the daily choice to shape your future rather than be shaped by default. Think of discipline like building a wall, not all at once, not with haste, but brick by brick. Each brick is a habit, a promise kept, a moment where you chose growth over comfort, one morning where you didn't hit snooze, one meal where you nourished instead of numbed, 1 hour where you focused instead of scrolled. This is how strong foundations are made, not with giant leaps, but small intentional steps repeated over time. It's easy to be motivated for a day. It's easy to start strong, to plan a grand transformation. But that surge fades, life gets loud, resistance shows up. And that's where discipline speaks, not in shouts, but in whispers. It reminds you who you want to become, and it gently pulls you back to your path when your emotions try to drag you away. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. You don't need to do everything. You need to do something daily that aligns with your higher self. Imagine a sculptor staring at a block of marble. The masterpiece isn't visible yet, but each day they chip away, sometimes with passion, sometimes with fatigue. The progress isn't always visible, but each stroke matters. Over time, something beautiful emerges from what once looked ordinary. That's discipline. That's you working not for instant results, but for lasting change. Let go of the belief that success must be fast or dramatic. Growth that lasts is often invisible at first. It's the decision to show up when no one's watching, to keep going when results don't yet reflect your effort, to do what's necessary even when your feelings rebel. And yes, there will be days you slip. You'll fall out of rhythm. You'll feel lazy or discouraged. But don't let a bad day turn into a bad pattern. Discipline isn't about being flawless. It's about returning, always returning. Because the power is in the return. Ask yourself, what am I building today? And then, does my behavior align with that answer? Your future doesn't care about how inspired you feel today. It cares about what you repeat. What you build in silence becomes the life you live out loud. The world may not applaud your 6 a.m. alarm, your healthy meal, your 30 minutes of focus, but your future self will. Discipline teaches you that success is less about intensity and more about identity. When you start seeing yourself as someone who honors their word, who chooses long-term reward over short-term comfort, something shifts in. You no longer rely on willpower alone. You begin acting from alignment. Create rituals, not rules. Set up environments that encourage success. Make your good habits easier and your bad habits harder. Remove temptation where possible. Automate what you can. Design your life like an architect, brick by brick, detail by detail, and most importantly, forgive yourself quickly when you falter. Discipline does not thrive in shame. It thrives in self-respect. You are not weak for stumbling. You are strong for continuing. Every time you show up for yourself, you cast a vote for the person you are becoming. These votes accumulate. Eventually they rewrite your identity, and your identity drives your behavior automatically. There will be seasons of hustle and seasons of stillness, but through both, discipline remains your anchor. It is not flashy. It is not loud. It is a quiet rhythm that beats beneath your growth. So build your wall, slowly, patiently, faithfully, and while others look for shortcuts, you'll be laying foundation. When they crumble under pressure, you'll stand steady because you built what they skipped. Discipline is not about controlling life. It's about creating space within yourself that remains steady, regardless of what life throws at you. It is the inner scaffolding that holds you together when everything else threatens to pull you apart. Each time you choose the disciplined path, even when it's the harder one, you're telling the world and yourself that your future matters more than your momentary craving. And that is power. The mind is the quiet architect of everything you become. Before any habit is formed, before any goal is pursued, before any transformation takes root, it begins with thought. And that's where your power lies. Not in the outside world, not in what happens to you, but in how you think about it. You've already taken the first step. You've started to build. But now comes the part that so many overlook, the inner world. Because no matter how disciplined your body becomes, if your mind remains untamed, the foundation will shake. The body may act, but the mind decides. Imagine your mind as a garden. Every thought is a seed. Some seeds carry peace, purpose, clarity. Others hold fear, anger, distraction. And like any garden, what grows depends on what you water. The question is not whether thoughts arise. They always will. The real question is, which ones do you nurture? It's tempting to believe that thoughts just happen to you, that you have no say in what enters your head. But the truth is, while you may not control every thought that arrives, you absolutely control which ones you entertain. You choose which thoughts to replay, which ones to question, which ones to let pass like clouds across a quiet sky. There will be days your mind feels like a battlefield, chaotic, scattered, noisy. That's okay. Stillness is not a natural state. It's a trained one. Mental strength is built the same way physical strength is, through deliberate, repeated effort, through noticing, pausing and choosing again. When fear rises, meet it with curiosity, not shame. Ask it, what are you trying to protect me from? When doubt whispers, don't fight it, observe it. When distraction knocks, gently redirect your focus like you would a wandering child. Respond, don't react. Reaction is immediate, emotional, impulsive. It comes from survival. But response, that comes from strength. Response comes from a space within you that pauses, breathes, and chooses. And every time you choose presence over panic, calm over chaos, intention over impulse, you build a stronger mind. Your thoughts shape your perception, and your perception becomes your reality. If you believe you are stuck, you will behave as though you. If you believe you are growing, even slowly, you will act in alignment with that truth. That's why mindset isn't a motivational buzzword. It's the steering wheel of your life. Let this be your daily practice. Silence the noise even briefly. Give yourself 5 minutes of mental stillness each morning. No phone, no pressure, just you, your breath, and awareness. Listen to your thoughts like waves coming to shore. Let them arrive and let them go. Don't attach, don't chase, just observe. And when life feels overwhelming, bring it back to one breath, one moment, one thought at a time. Your mind is not your enemy, it's your ally waiting to be trained. And with consistent attention, it can become your strongest asset. This journey requires compassion. You will have negative thoughts. You will feel fear. That does not mean you are failing. It means you are human. Mental mastery isn't about never feeling low. It's about not staying there longer than necessary. So when your mind becomes loud with doubt or anxiety, remember, you are the one listening. You are not your thoughts. You are the thinker, the observer, the one with the power to change the pattern. And the more you practice, the clearer you become. Clarity gives you direction. Stillness gives you strength. And from that place, you begin to command your life, not by force, but by intention. You'll begin to notice the space between stimulus and response. You'll begin to make decisions from alignment, not urgency. You'll begin to feel calm, not because life got easier, but because your mind got stronger. This is your sanctuary, not some external place, but the inner space you build through practice, through patience, through presence. There's a quiet strength in choosing later, when everything around you screams now. It takes courage to hold back when you're hungry for comfort. It takes vision to walk away from easy pleasure in the name of something greater, something unseen. This is the heart of delayed gratification, not punishment, not deprivation, but wisdom. The world moves fast. Everything is instant. Likes, replies, deliveries, rewards. But personal growth doesn't follow that tempo. True transformation, true success, is earned slowly in silence through choices that most will never see. It is built by the ones who are willing to say, not today, because I am building something that matters tomorrow. Every time you choose discipline over indulgence, you're not just resisting, you're redirecting. You're exchanging fleeting comfort for lasting fulfillment. And that trade, over time, compounds into something powerful, something permanent. Think of a farmer who plants in spring. He doesn't demand a harvest the next day. He waters, he waits, he trusts the invisible work happening beneath the surface. The fruit takes time, but it comes, and when it does, it's worth far more than the immediate satisfaction he might have taken by eating the seed instead. You are that farmer. Your habits, your time, your focus, these are your seeds. And the life you want, that's the harvest. It's easy to forget the long game, when the short term offers quick wins. Skipping a workout, spending impulsively, scrolling instead of creating. These are small things, but they carry weight, because every choice is a vote for the person you are, or the person you want to be. There is freedom in restraint, not because you limit yourself, but because you choose what truly matters. You realize not all pleasure is worth the price, and not all struggle is suffering. Some struggle is sacred. Some struggle leads to strength. Delayed gratification is the ability to live aligned with your values, not your impulses. It's the awareness that the more meaningful path often starts with less comfort, but ends with more peace. And the truth is, you already know the difference between temporary relief and lasting joy. One fades quickly, the other stays, quietly affirming that you chose well. So how do you build this kind of strength? Start small. Wait 10 minutes before giving in to temptation. Save a little each week instead of spending it all. Pause and reflect before reacting. Delay not forever, but long enough to create space between urge and action. In that space you reclaim control, and over time that space grows. Your patience expands. You realize you don't need every desire met immediately. You don't need validation right now. You don't need to chase dopamine hits that leave you empty. You're building a deeper reward, a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are in charge of yourself. That's real power. There's nothing glamorous about it. No one cheers when you choose to study instead of party. No one notices when you say no to fast pleasure and yes to slow purpose. But those moments add up. They shape your character. They build your legacy. Because everything you want, confidence, clarity, strength, fulfillment, it lives on the other side of consistency. And consistency is built on the ability to wait, to work, to trust. Let others rush. Let them chase. You, however, are learning the art of holding out for what matters. It doesn't mean you never enjoy life. It means your joy is intentional, rooted. You don't take pleasure when you need escape. You take pleasure when you've earned rest. There is peace in that. There is pride in that. And yes, sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes discipline feels like sacrifice with no return. But that is only for a season. Because one day the things you've built in silence will speak for themselves. Your discipline will become your lifestyle. Your patience will become your peace. And what once felt like sacrifice will feel like wisdom. You will fall, not once, not twice, but more times than you can count. Some falls will be loud, public, and bruising. Others will be silent and internal, happening in the quiet corners of your mind, where no one sees but you feel everything. But here is the truth that separates the strong from the stagnant. It is never the fall that defines you. It is the rise. Resilience is not about being unbreakable. It's about being rebuildable. It's the ability to gather the scattered pieces of your courage, your dreams, your self-worth, and fit them together again differently, but stronger. You see, failure is not a wall. It is a mirror. It shows you what needs to be refined, what still needs to be strengthened, and what beliefs are silently sabotaging your progress. When you fail, you're not being punished. You're being shown. The world teaches you to fear failure, to avoid it, but life whispers a wiser truth. Failure is a teacher wrapped in discomfort. It's not there to shame you. It's there to stretch you. You weren't meant to glide through life without scars. The most powerful versions of yourself are forged in fire, not in comfort. Each setback you survive becomes proof that you can endure. And with endurance comes evolution. Think back to the last time you failed, really failed. Not just a small misstep, but a fall that rattled your confidence. Maybe it made you question everything, your worth, your direction, your voice. But even then, didn't a small part of you want to try again? Even when the pain was fresh, didn't some tiny spark remain whispering, "You're not done yet"? That voice is resilience. It's the quiet inner strength that shows up when motivation disappears, when applause is gone, when the world stops watching. It's what keeps you walking when the road gets steep and lonely. You don't have to rise dramatically. You don't need to stand with clenched fists and cinematic music. Sometimes rising means sitting in the dark for a while, breathing, crying, reflecting, and then one quiet morning, deciding to take one more step. Just one. You are allowed to hurt. You are allowed to pause. But don't confuse pausing with quitting. A break is not a breakdown. It's preparation for your next chapter. The Japanese proverb says, "Fall 7 times, stand up 8. But it isn't about numbers. It's about mindset. Resilience isn't measured by how many times you fall. It's revealed by your willingness to rise again, even when rising feels impossible. Understand this. Every successful person you admire has failed. They've doubted themselves. They've faced ridicule, rejection, and roadblocks. But they made one crucial choice. They kept showing up. And so can you. Build your resilience like a muscle. Start small. Challenge yourself in ways that feel manageable. Learn to say, "This didn't work yet." That small word "yet" holds immense power. It shifts the story from an ending to a comma. Tell yourself, "This failure isn't final. It's forming me." Resilience isn't loud. It's quiet. It's patient. It doesn't scream, "I will conquer the world." It whispers, "I'll try again tomorrow." And that whisper is often more powerful than a shout. Let your falls humble you, not haunt you. Let them remind you that you are alive, daring, reaching, because you cannot rise if you don't fall, and you cannot grow if you don't risk failure. So fall, break, stumble, but then breathe, reflect, begin again. Your journey is not linear. Progress isn't always visible, but every small rise adds up. Every time you choose persistence over despair, you're reshaping your identity, not into someone perfect, but into someone powerful. You are not broken, you are becoming, and in becoming, you are discovering a strength that no success can teach, only failure can. When you wake up without a reason, even the morning sun can feel heavy. The day drifts, time passes, and you wonder where the hours went. But the truth is simple. Without a destination, discipline dissolves. Your strength, your habits, your energy, they all need a direction, a purpose, a point on the map that whispers, walk this way. Without it, you're not lazy. You're just unanchored. That's where your goals come in. Not just big dreams floating in the distance, but rooted intentions that you plant deep in your day-to-day life. Goals that aren't built on trends or borrowed desires, but on your truth, what you value, what you want to build, live, and become. Designing your days means deciding who you are, one action at a time. Imagine your life as a ship in the middle of a vast ocean. Storms come, winds shift, waves rise and fall. But a ship with an anchor doesn't drift far from its purpose. Your goals are that anchor. They hold you steady when distractions crash in. They keep your discipline grounded when your emotions want to pull you elsewhere. The mistake most people make is chasing goals that look good from the outside. Titles, numbers, achievements shaped by what the world applauds. But real clarity doesn't come from comparison. It comes from looking within. Ask yourself, what matters most to me? What makes me feel alive? Aligned, at peace. From that place of honesty, start small. One clear, specific intention, something measurable, meaningful, and manageable. Maybe it's writing for 30 minutes each morning. Maybe it's drinking more water. Maybe it's choosing silence over scrolling. It doesn't need to be dramatic, it just needs to be true. The more aligned your goal is with your values, the less you'll need motivation to follow through, because it will already feel right. That's the power of anchored goals. They don't pull you, they call you, and you respond, not out of pressure, but from a deep sense of purpose. And here's the secret. The process is the transformation. It's not the goal you reach that changes you. It's who you become on the way there. Each time you choose your goal over your impulse, your integrity grows. Each day you show up when it's hard, your self-respect deepens. The discipline becomes part of your identity. So design your days like you're designing your future. Because you are. Structure isn't a prison. It's a promise you make to your future self. A daily reminder that your time is sacred, your energy is finite, and your goals deserve a space to breathe and grow. Let your mornings begin with clarity. Let your evenings end with reflection. Create a rhythm that feels less like a grind, and more like a prayer, a quiet commitment to keep moving forward, no matter how slowly. When setbacks arrive, and they will, let your goals be the compass that guides you back. Not rigid rules, but flexible intentions that adapt with you as you evolve. Don't wait for motivation. Create momentum. Design your environment to support what you say you want. Put reminders inside. Limit your distractions. Celebrate the days you stay on track, and forgive the ones you don't. Remember, this is not about perfection. This is about design, about crafting your life with care, with consciousness, with courage. You are not at the mercy of your mood. You are not a victim of chaos. You are the architect of your hours, the artist of your energy, the one who decides what today will mean. So take your pen, open your calendar, and ask, what kind of life am I designing? And does it match the one I say I want? Because how you spend your days is ultimately how you spend your life. There comes a moment in every journey when you stop running, not because you've given up, but because you've grown still, but not weak. Still, like a mountain. Still, like the eye of a storm. This chapter is not about speed or ambition. It's about presence, about the kind of strength that doesn't need to shout to be heard, or move to make impact. The world will always pull at your mind. Headlines, opinions, emotions, expectations, noise, endless noise. And if you don't train your mind, you'll get swept into it, tossed around by every little wave. Your peace scattered in pieces you don't remember losing. But you are learning how to become unshakable. You don't silence the noise by controlling the world. You silence it by mastering your internal world, by anchoring yourself so deeply in who you are and what you stand for, that even chaos can't pull you off course. Stillness is not passive. It's not doing nothing. It's choosing moment by moment, not to react to everything that tries to steal your focus. It's taking a deep breath when anger rises. It's pausing before you reply to hurtful words. It's knowing the difference between urgency and importance, and responding from wisdom, not impulse. That's what a strong mind gives you: space, a pause long enough to ask, is this worth my energy? Is this aligned with who I want to be? Mental discipline is not built in grand gestures. It's built in the quiet hours when no one sees you choosing your peace over your pride. It's forged in the decision to meditate instead of scroll, to reflect instead of react, to trust instead of control. When your mind is disciplined, you stop being pulled by every emotion, every fear, every distraction. You learn to sit with discomfort without trying to escape it. You learn to listen without needing to fix everything. You learn that clarity is born from quiet, and sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. There's power in not flinching, power in not explaining yourself every time, power in protecting your inner space like sacred ground. You are not your thoughts, you are not your fears, you are the one watching them come and go, steady, observant, patient. And the more you strengthen this presence, the more you return to the truth that you are enough, without proving, without rushing, without fighting every battle that calls your name. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every conflict deserves your energy. Not every opportunity is meant for you. This is maturity, to respond with stillness, not because you're indifferent, but because you've chosen peace over chaos, wisdom over reaction. A strong mind knows that storms will come, but they also pass. It knows that setbacks are temporary. That external noise does not need to become internal turbulence. You begin to protect your mind the way you protect your home. You don't let just anything walk through the door. You choose what enters. You set boundaries. You clean out the clutter, because your mind is your sanctuary. And peace is the discipline you practice, not a gift you stumble upon. In this stillness, you stop chasing what doesn't serve you, and something shifts. You start attracting what's true, people who respect your quiet strength, opportunities that align with your purpose, moments that nourish instead of drain. This is not about suppressing emotions or pretending to be untouchable. It's about cultivating awareness, so deep that emotions no longer control you. They inform you, they pass through, like weather, but never become the climate of your identity. You stop being tossed, you start standing, and there's nothing louder than a grounded presence. So stand still. Not as someone who's given up, but as someone who's grown up. You've fought your battles, you've broken your pattern. Now you learn the final lesson, not how to fight harder, but how to stand without flinching. And in that quiet stillness, a new power awakens, the power to guard your energy, to center your focus, and to live from within, no matter what calls from outside.